The naming of Prince Misuzulu, or now we've come to know him as His Majesty King Misuzulu Kazwelithini, was referred to the King of the AmaZulu nation, has thrust the palace into turmoil. Obviously, Misuzulu was named in the will of his mother, Queen Regent Mantfombi Dlamini-Zulu. Now, there was drama after the will was read at the palace last night, and the prince was whisked away by heavily armed security. Disgruntled members of the royal family may be able to contest his ascension to the throne. So for more on this now, we're joined by Melusi, who's an attorney, as well as Mpumileli Ngidi, UKZN Historical Studies lecturer. Thank you so much to the both of you for joining us this evening. Melusi, let's start off with you. I mean, it appears as though unity has been restored. Princess Thembi, as well as Prince Mbonisi, as we've heard here from Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, has pledged their loyalty to His Majesty King Misuzulu Kazwelithini. But there may be members of the family who actually want to challenge the will. Now, the Prince Buthelezi says there is no precedent for such, but legally, could there be precedents?
Well, they can maybe take it to court as they try to. Remember, on Friday it was withdrawn, so we don't know what will happen next. But I want to touch the point that once there's an issue or a dispute that the king may not be recognized as king according to some customary issue, it may be taken back to the royal family, and they will again submit a person that they agree about. The main issue is who is being identified by the royal family. And if they agree as a unit, as it has been stated, they are now speaking in one voice. I think that is what matters, that they recognize that King Misuzulu is the king of AmaZulu.
And to bring you into this, Mpumelele, customarily, under what grounds, or could there possibly be grounds under which there could be the certificate of recognition of Misuzulu, that it could be denied? Customarily, what would need to be fulfilled in order for that to not happen?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sure. So under which circumstances would we find that Misuzulu Kazwelithini, or King Misuzulu Kazwelithini, could actually have that certificate of recognition that he's supposed to get from the president actually refused?
It can only be refused because we don't have much precedent for this. But the conditions of refusal of the certificates, of which we don't see it happening, but we'll never know that there may be possibilities. Is whereby there are other members of the royal family with disputes. In Ngonyama, Misuzulu being appointed to the throne. So if there are family members who submit into the court that they are opposing against what the Zulu royal family have agreed upon, if they are those members, so it can be reversed if there are issues. But we do expect the role of the government, as it's also happened when his late father, King Zwelithini, was appointed. We remember it was when he was coronated on the 3rd of December 1971 that the commissioner of the Commissioner General of Zululand was there, and also the Minister of the Bantu Administration and Development, Mr. MC Borda, was also there. So we do expect it's unlike in the past where there were no certificates. Now a certificate is needed from government, unless if there are challenges.
And let's speak a little bit, Melusi, around this cause of tension within the family, especially in light of the fact that, as we understand, the 300 cows were sent to the Swati royal household for the late Queen Regent. It was almost a known fact that the late Queen Mantfombi would actually give birth to the heir. But somehow there was tension even around that, who would ascend the throne. Was it not an open secret that he would naturally ascend the throne, therefore not so much a cause for the tension of the throne in itself? What informed that?
Can you repeat again? Sorry.
The actual cause around Mantfombi, 300 cows were sent to the Swati royal household for the late Queen Regent. Should it not have been a known secret that indeed she would give birth to the heir would ascend to the throne? So why all the tension?
Well, I will not really be an expert on that specific traditions, but I know that it's a known fact that the 300 cattle were sent to Swaziland because the late queen was from the royal house or had royal blood, and they were agreeing that whoever, if she gives birth to a son, that son will be a king, and that is King Misuzulu. So that was known. But obviously, when there's a king that will be identified, there are always contestations. So it's not a new thing. Contestations are not new things. But I will stick to the fact that what is required by law, if you look at traditional Leadership and Governance Framework Act in Section 9, it says if the royal family has identified their king, or according to the KZN Leadership Act, if they have identified Isilo and they've agreed, that is all that matters. And if they're speaking with one voice, as we've heard that they are now supporting Isilo Misuzulu, that is what matters according to the two acts that are relevant. So if it's challenged again, it will go back to the family for resubmission. And it looks like they've made their decision. A majority of them have made their decisions.
Yeah.
So I think that now it lies with the proper customary structure that will report to the president, that will report to the premier, and also to the minister that we've identified our king, and that is according to Section 9 of the Traditional Act that I mentioned earlier.
And speaking of which, the fast nature of the unfolding of the events in Phumeleli, is it business unusual? I mean, the king passed away about less than 2 months ago. Queen Regent was, interred on Thursday into Friday morning. So now the will was read Friday evening. Is it not fast, or is this business as usual?
It's not. It wasn't too fast. It's usual. What usually happens when a king has fallen, the leadership role should not be left vacant. This was done in order to because the enemies in the parties used to be like that. They would say that. The enemies will recognize that there's no leadership there, so the nation is weak. So that's why in the case whereby a son who has to take over the throne is still young, or there are still formalities that are being processed, a regent will be appointed, because the throne of the Zulu kingdom should not be left vacant.
It certainly is interesting times, and of course we're going to be keeping a close eye on that developing story. But here you have it. Of course, it's now His Majesty the King Misuzulu Kazwelithini who's now been officially ascended to that throne. Thank you so much to Attorney Melissa Ukulu, as well as UKZN Historical Studies lecturer Mphumeleli Ngidi for that one.